Alright, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video getting into Overwatch kind of tier list. And to be honest with you, this is the tier list I thought of on the fly, and I was like, you know what, I think that would be a really cool video. So as I was going through the tier list maker, I found Overwatch 2 Ultimates. Then I thought to myself, what's the most fun ultimate in the game? So we are going to do the most fun ultimate in the game. Of course, that's my opinion. You guys have your opinions. It's definitely very subjective. Let me know what you guys think about my thoughts, and let me know your thoughts, and hopefully we can kind of just go through the ultimates and kind of get a clear idea of how it's going to go. We got S, A, B, C, D. Again, it's not most powerful. It is strictly just the most fun ultimates. So first up, we got Diva's Explosion. I'm not going to lie, that would be B tier for me. I feel like you can get some really cool kills off of it. Like you get 3 or 4, that would be really awesome. But because it's so short-lived, it's not the most fun. But I feel like kind of planning around, whether it's flying super high up and letting the bomb fall, or figuring out a way to trap opponents and then putting them in a bomb, that it can be pretty fun. Next up, we got Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Balls is devious kind of fun. Like, oh, let me just put this here to screw with other players, make sure they can't touch this area. I would say that's also B tier, because you don't really control it. It's just once the bombs are out, it's out. So it's cool, but it's not crazy. You could argue C tier for sure. I'm gonna leave it at B tier though, because I do play ball sack sports, and every time I have the ultimate, it's kind of fun. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys here. I don't really play Winston all too much. I think I've used his ult like 1 or 2 times. It feels pretty bland to me. I feel like it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I would say C tier. I mean, to be honest with you, you might be thinking, how is Wrecking Ball more fun than Winston? Winston is a duration. My reason being is, again, I play Wrecking Ball. I use him as a kind of pocket kind of character. And every time I ult, I have fun kind of blocking whole area off. But whenever, those 1 or 2 times that I've ulted with Winston, I feel like his ultimate is just so very weak. If you're a Winston player, it might be like this for you. Again, strictly for me, it's just not the most fun. Next up, we have Zarya's. And to be honest with you, I think Zarya is a good combo ult. Like if you pair hers with Mei or Lil Yachty or any character, or like Bastion, for example. But basically any character that kind of has like an explosion type of ult, Zarya works really great with them, because they can just, get all the people that you have sucked into that gravitational pull. I would say Zarya is definitely a C tier as well. Nothing too crazy. Kind of fun though. In my opinion, now this might be a hot take, I think Bobber is A tier. While you just throw him out there and he's just a bot, I think they've done a good job at making Bob feel important by giving him like custom skins. And every time Ashe summons him out, Bob kind of just goes ham. He's a handful to worry about, but when you use him in the right spots, he's gonna get the job done, get a lot of kills. Granted, in the higher ranks, I think it's a bit harder, but still, I think Bobber is really fun to have out. Bastion, in my opinion, is like the worst, most fun ult in the game. Like, it's not fun at all. It's 3 bombs, like artillery. It's just a weak ult. It's not all that crazy. Next up is Diva's D-Mech. It's not an ultimate, but after her ultimate, she has to get it back. I think this one can be gimmicky fun when you try to land it on someone, but that's kind of that. I would say C tier. Next up, we have Cassidy. And I would say Cassidy's is S tier in my opinion. Reason being is because you have one-shot potential. Kind of got to put yourself in the right spot. You can let that thing build up where it gets close in to where it's a bullseye. And when you get those 3 or 4 kills, it is the most satisfying thing in the world. Echo, I would say, is definitely S tier as well. Reason being is once you get Echo's ult, you get a pick between one of the 5 characters on the other team and try to take their ult. So you're that character temporarily, and then you try to get their ult. I think it's extremely fun. Definitely up there with Deadeye. Granted, you can copy Deadeye, so I would say Echoes has got to be higher. Again, strictly and most fun. I really can't clarify that enough. Sometimes people skip the video. Sometimes, even though the title's there on the video, people can forget. So I'm going to clarify that. Next up, we got Genji. Genji's easily S tier. When you pull out the Genji ult, you're wanting to go absolutely bananas. and a lot of Genjis definitely do that, especially when they get nanoed or mercy pocketed. It is crazy. Next up, we got Hanzo, and I would put Hanzo in C tier. I'm gonna move this mech down to D. I just, it's not really an ultimate, so I mean, it can be fun and it can have its gimmicks around it for sure. It's very satisfying to get a kill, but all in all, it's just not it's not crazy. But Hanzo's I'm gonna leave at C tier. Summons a big dragon, or I guess shoots out of his arrow a big dragon. I'm a Hanzo main. You know, people hate Hanzo. I don't hate Hanzo, but I do not hate his ult, but I think it's extremely underwhelming, and it also can get eaten up. Next up is Mei. In my opinion, Mei is one of the most fun ults in the game. Definitely better than Bob. Reason being is because when you, again, ice 3 or 4 or even 2, especially if a tank is one of the 2, in that, you know, Blizzard, it is so badass to be able to headshot with your secondary fire. Absolutely awesome, especially when the team can get in on the action. Super fun ultimate. Doomfist along with Bastion has to probably be one of the most underwhelming ults in the game. They recently kind of buffed it. I mean, it's harder to get now. It takes longer to get, but you can kind of heal while you're like in the sky or wherever the hell he is. It's a whatever ultimate. I would say D tier suits it justice. It doesn't seem like it's a game changer in any sort of fun sense. Next up, we got Junkrat and his ult, which is the exploding tire. I would say this is A tier, honestly. Being able to drive that thing around, finding your target, especially when the explosion radius is huge, you can get 2 to 3 kills, sometimes even more, depending on, you know, how many people are around. I would say it's really fun to use, also extremely satisfying. And again, when you get those 2 to 3 kills, it feels super worth it. Next up, we have Pharah. I'm gonna level with you guys. I've never ulted with Pharah once. I don't play Pharah, so I'm gonna go off of kind of what I see other people put on Reddit. People don't like that you stand still, but from a fun standpoint, no one really talks about it. So by default, I'm gonna leave it at C. You know, I feel like it can't be that boring. It's kind of cool to send a barrage of missiles. Maybe I should say B, right? Because, I mean, the idea behind it is really cool, right? And you get to at least kill some people. I think with a lot of these, killing is a problem. Once you get to being up, killing is not so much of a problem. Like with Winston's ult, killing is a problem, to be honest with you. It's not ideal. With Zarya, it does 0 damage. With Hanzo's, it's pretty hard to, you know, reliably get some kills. We got Reaper here. Reaper's definitely one of the most fun ults in the game. Every time me and my cousins play, we always look out for that Reaper ult because they're always going for the play of the game. Reapers always go for the play of the game with their ults. Try to just invisible their way, or whatever, that the shadow form. They just try to shadow their way in the middle of, you know, everyone and try to just ult. It's pretty easy to see coming at times. Most of the times it is, to be honest with you, but it's super fun to kind of try and plan for that and ambush enemies and then get them out of nowhere just saying die. I would say Reaper's ult S tier. Next up, we have Sojourn, and I think Sojourn, the most fun you can get out of it depends entirely on your skill. If you are a savage whom headshots galores or just headshots all the time, you're gonna feel like it's an S tier. If you're a newbie and or middle of the rank kind of player, it might be C or B. I'm gonna leave it at A. I think it's extremely awesome to kind of just go crazy, you know, try to fish for headshots. I would say it's more fun than Bob, to be honest with you. Maybe even the Riptire. But I'm going to leave it at A. I feel like, for me, while it is cool, it's kind of something that we already do when we get to 100. You just got to do it consistently. As opposed to most of these, you can only do it when you ult. This is just your gun constantly recharging. Now, it is at a fast pace, but there's not a level of uniqueness as opposed to a Blizzard, to where you can't charge up for a Blizzard. You can only get it when you ult, where you can charge up for one railgun shot. Yes, it is one, but again, it takes away some uniqueness, if that makes sense. but I still think with the amount of times it does recharge and the amount of play the games you can get with this, it's definitely A tier. Next up is Soldier 76. I would say as a Soldier 76 main, it's definitely B tier, right? It doesn't feel like the most overwhelming, but it's definitely not underwhelming like some of these other ones. I would say it's definitely more middle of the pack, you know, being able to literally lock onto any enemy, and if you're good enough, you can still get headshots with it. Like, it's pretty cool, especially if you're nanoed, it goes crazy. So I would say B tier. Sombra's hack is pretty short-lived, or not her hack, her EMP is pretty short-lived, but I would say B tier just because it does take away a portion of everyone's life, and then it does lock abilities for your whole team to go crazy. So it feels like there's a really strong and immediate impact, which can feel pretty cool. I don't think it's better than a lot of these other ones. Maybe it's better than Pharah's, but I think that's pretty unfair of me to say. I would put it at the top of B. Next, we got Symmetra's. And in all honesty, I think Symmetra's is probably like one of the most like anticlimactic ults. She's definitely in B tier. It's extremely useful. I'm not talking about its use, but in terms of most entertaining, honestly, I think Bastion's is the only one that's less entertaining. Other than that, Symmetra's just big ass shield, big ass wall. There's not much entertainment value to it, to be honest with you. Next up, we got Coalescence. I would say Coalescence is definitely B tier. Probably the highest of B tier now. It's just a constant blast. Maybe A tier, maybe A tier. Maybe I'm being a little too rough with it. Because you're constantly just blasting people, and then you can like ultra heal, do some really solid damage for a support. Yeah, I would put it in A. It is pretty fun, honestly. Like, you just do, like, it's like a Kamehameha if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z. Constant just power struggle with a beam. It's honestly kind of cool. Tracer's is definitely one of the more anti-climatic ults. Pretty straightforward in that you just throw your pulse bomb. It can stick. For Tracer as a character, it works well. But in terms of entertainment value, it's not crazy. I would say that seems about fair. It's not a crazy ult in terms of entertainment value. Next up, we got Widowmaker, though. This has got to be like the most least entertaining ult ever. Now, again, for Widowmaker, it's useful because she's trying to position herself to get these headshots, but no crazy damage, no defense, strictly utility in the sense that you just know where people are. As an ult, it's not the most fun in my opinion. Next up, we got Junker Queen. I would say this is pretty higher B. Reason being is because the more people that you can get on that like anti-heal state, what is that even called? I know it's an anti-nade for Ana, but basically they can't heal themselves. It's cool that she kind of just rushes them down. They lose damage over time and they can't heal. You can kind of just go crazy. Problem is, Kiriko can just debuff that shit and your ult is completely wasted. So I'm going to say B tier. Okay, so this one's interesting because when you're on the receiving end of a nano, it's like S tier max. But when you're the one sending the nano, right? When you're sending the nano, what fun is there to that? Boom. All right, you're nanoed, bro. You handle your business. Like, you can't nano yourself. Again, when you're on the receiving end of a nano, easily like there, right? Easily the best. But when you're the one giving the nano, and it is an ult that you're, you know, if you're play as Ana, you're giving it every single time. So because of that, honestly, I still think giving the ult is probably more fun than Bastion and Widowmakers, but I would leave it as that. Okay, Baptiste's wall has definitely got to be at least A tier. It can be an absolute game changer from a fun standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, really from all standpoints, because if you're trying to ultra heal, put the wall down. If you're trying to do ultra damage, put the wall down. If you're trying to combo with other people's ults, like soldiers, for example, put the wall down. If you're trying to do solo damage yourself, put the wall down. If there's a Bastion that's going in turbo mode, put the fucking wall down. Basically, The wall is crazy. It amplifies everything. Definitely super fun. Next up, we got Brig. From a fun standpoint, I would say it's got to be like A tier, right? You get the big ass shield. You can stun people. Extra health. I think the big shield for a support can kind of give them some entertainment value. Next up, we have Lil Yachty's right here. She's got a cool ult. The Sunbeam or Sun something, whatever it's called. I would say it might be A tier, to be honest. Your support doing that much damage. Yeah, I'm gonna say low A tier. Kiriko's Kitsune, I mean, dude, it's cracked from a competitive standpoint up here. From an entertainment standpoint, if you're on the receiving end of a Kitsune, it's right behind Nano Boost. If you are giving it, at least you get to give it to yourself. So you get to do faster kunai throws, faster healing. Probably right here. Right, from an epic standpoint, I think the Coalescence feels more powerful, again, in terms of just soloing. Lucio's ult can feel really cool at times, especially like when you make epic saves and you save a shit ton of your teammates. For himself, you know, getting that extra boost to stay alive like 4, maybe 3 seconds longer, depending on who's focusing on him. I would say it's a relatively satisfying ult. I'm gonna say the highest of B. Right? Or maybe it might be more satisfying and more entertaining than Lil Yachty's ult, to be honest with you, but I'm going to leave it at highest of B. Next up, we have Tree of Life. I've never once played Lifeweaver and ulted with him. Right? So it feels wrong for me to tell you how it felt if I ever said I did it, because I've never ulted with Lifeweaver. I never really bothered playing with him. I don't play support too much. And just never ulted with him. So I'm gonna say B tier. Right? I'm trying to picture myself, like, if I used it, how cool would I feel? Having a hard time of getting a definitive answer. I'm gonna leave it at B tier, because you're not doing damage like Pharah's, right? I've never used Pharah either, but you're not doing damage. You're just healing. I mean, I guess it depends on the kind of person you are, but personally, I like doing damage. Next up, we have Mercy's. I've never played Mercy, but I imagine flying around is super entertaining. Literally going everywhere across the screen. I can't imagine that not being entertaining. I'm gonna leave that at S tier. Granted, I've never played Mercy, but again, when you're moving around as much as she does, like, there's no other character in the game that can do that kind of shit. So I'm gonna leave that at S tier. I don't know how I'm going to explain it to you guys as I edit the video. So Coalescence we talked about already, clearly. Torb's ultimate. How fun is Torb's? Because this is Coalescence. I made the mistake of thinking this one was. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, Torb's ultimate. Blocking off an area. Doing it in a way that you can control. So it's better than Ballsack Sports in terms of entertainment value, in my opinion. Honestly, I would say it's pretty fucking awesome. Like, especially in terms of entertainment. I would say A tier. All right, next up we got Zenyatta. Zenyatta is a great one to have. I don't know if I have it at S tier or A tier. Being able to just shut everything down and heal everyone and literally stopping anyone from dying and bring them to max health for a good 4 or 5 seconds. You're just shutting the game down. Like, hey, no one can do anything for as long as I'm in this tranquility state. So I would say A tier, honestly. I really would say A tier. Okay, next up we got Malga's, and I feel like this one's really easy. It is the most, like, coolest, innovative ult, other than, like, maybe Echoes. You're literally trapping someone inside with you and saying, mano a mano, mofo. Like, you're in an arena with me. You're stuck here with me. Malga's, in terms of entertainment value, is just top notch. We got Orisa next. Her ult, pulling people in, seems relatively simple. Can get a lot of kills with it, depending on how you use it. I would say B tier, right? Around there, roughly. Ramattra's is definitely A or S. I might do low S. I would say low S. You're just giving a beat down to whomever's around you. It is literally punch, 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 punch. The ultimate brawler ultimate in this game. There's no ultimate like it where you're just beating on people with your hands and just boom, 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 while they're taking their damage taken away from them if they're in a certain radius. And it can last a long time depending on how many people are around in that radius. So yeah, Ramattra's is badass. Reinhardt's, while short-lived, if you land it on several people, it feels fucking fantastic. I'm gonna say A tier for Reinhardt. Landing that on several people is rejuvenating, dude. It breathes life into the game. Roadhog's a weird one, right? It's pretty fun and it's like unique in its own way because he pulls out this just big ass gun, just pushing everyone away. No one can get near you. If that person's against a wall, they're dead. The damage output is insane. I'm gonna say, honestly, like, it's a really cool ult. We're gonna say low S tier. That might be a hot take. Some people might say B or A, but it's really badass. Then next we got Sigma Balls. Sigma Balls is definitely A tier. Where in A tier? Pretty up there, to be honest. The universe is singing to me, and then just gravity, pull people up, slam them down as you're literally floating in air. It's pretty freaking badass to use in terms of just, again, entertainment value. I would say it's higher than the Riptire. That and that. I would say, honestly, it might be S tier. I'm gonna leave it at S tier, just ahead of Roadhog. And yeah, this is gonna be my list. The most entertaining ults in this game. As I think about this list more though, Reaper is going to be coming back all the way to the back. Actually, no, he's ahead of Roadhog. Yeah, he's ahead of Roadhog. And then, yeah, that feels right to me. I feel like Echo's gotta go number one though, dude. Like, she can literally copy anyone's ult. So if you think Malgus is the best, great, Echo can copy it. All in all though, this is my list. I feel pretty confident about it, right? Now, you might think, hey, Nano, I love giving people Nano. It gives me the best feeling in the world. You might think Doomfist, hey, his ultimate is the most fun ultimate in the game. This list is extremely subjective. I'm just giving you my input on why I think certain moves are really fun to use and others that are just kind of meh, or others that are kind of solid but not too great, not too bad. But anyway, this is my list. Let me know what you guys think and what are your favorite ultimates. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. This is Always Been Different. Always Been Different. And we out.